The system gives the user 3 levels of control of the stylization: object space, image space, and hybrid space. We will talk about these different levels of control throughout the tutorials. Let us focus now on image space control. The global stylization values control global parameters applied to the entire rendered image, mostly in image space. This enables you to quickly modify general settings and effects that affect every object. The simplest way to modify these parameters is using the Conf tool, which is the red splatter tool in the WC shelf. Once you click on the Conf tool, the configuration node will be selected and shown in the attribute editor, containing 4 main sections. In the NPR quality section, render quality sets the render quality used in the viewport. Normal renders every pixel, whereas DSR 2x supersamples the render, rendering everything at twice the pixel size and then resizing it back to fit the viewport. This process helps against aliasing artifacts and gives overall a nicer result, at the cost of some performance. In the watercolor section, pigment density increases the amount of pigment granulation accumulated at the valleys of the paper, giving it a more concentrated or darker look. Granulation sets the pigment granulation algorithm, which is affected by the pigment density and the paper roughness. Split control gives you individual control of the paper roughness and the pigment density. Bousseau uses a granulation algorithm proposed by previous researchers. Darken Edges sets the edge darkening algorithm. Gaussian uses a difference of Gaussians filter, which simulates the accumulation of pigments towards the edges. Sobel uses a Sobel filter, as proposed in other watercolor stylizations by previous researchers. Edge strength sets the global strength of the edge darkening. Color bleed offset globally controls the amount of vertex offset that the color bleeding performs. Color bleed threshold allows for tweaks in the behavior of the color bleeding. The surface textures group enables the user to change the paper used for stylization. For best results, load a paper height map and a normal map respectively. When using custom textures, make sure to put them inside of the system directory in the Textures folder. Surface size controls the scale of the watercolor paper texture. Surface update controls the frequency of applying new textures in times per second. An update of 2 would update the texture every 12 frames on a 24 frames per second animation. Surface roughness controls the general roughness of the watercolor paper. Surface distortion controls the global distortion caused by the roughness of the watercolor paper. The last one is the hand tremors section. While not simulated in image space, hand tremors are controlled globally for all objects and include the following. Hand tremors affects the size of the vertex displacement, simulating tremors. Tremor frequency adjusts the frequency of the applied noise. Tremor speed affects the speed of the tremors. Turn this down to 0 if you want to have tremors that only provide static random deformation. Tremor front factor controls the tremor amount at the front-facing faces of the geometry. This concludes the tutorial on image space stylization control. Make sure to learn how the object space stylization works and how to paint stylization effects using the hybrid space effects.